So I just ended up beating the System Shock 2 Remaster, and it took me about 10 hours. I've never played the original, and I knew Night Dive was working on this remaster, so I patiently waited. Now that I've beaten it, I got a tough question to ask myself. How do I review a game that's 25 years old? Especially a game that has not aged poorly. System Shock 2 Remaster makes an already great game shine even brighter by allowing modern audiences to experience this masterpiece without having any hoops to jump through. There's no longer a requirement for fan patches or mods to make the game function. The remaster also has multiplayer, which was a cut feature in the original game, and the multiplayer has crossplay with the game launching July 10th on consoles. As for the game itself, a lot of it holds up today. There's a few points that I would nitpick, which I'll talk about later in the video. As for the gameplay, that's probably the most daunting part of this review. On the surface, I'd say it's a shooter with resource management. Like, you know how in Resident Evil, you have a limited amount of ammo that you gotta kind of manage throughout the campaign? It's kind of like that, but there's a lot more things to manage other than ammo. But there is a lot of optional areas to explore and secrets to find. And you will want to explore as much as you can to find more ammo, weapons, and healing items. Because of your general lack of items and some incredible sound design, System Shock 2 has a strong, oppressive atmosphere that can put players into a constant state of restless unease.
Something we do not welcome you.
I can totally understand why some people try to label this game with the horror tag. Like, sure, you can become the god of death by the end game, but enemies will always remain a threat if you're not careful. Now, I am going to kind of skim over the story with this review because the majority of the story is going to be told to the player through audio logs. Some audio logs are clearly not recorded by professionals, but the ones that are genuine nightmare fuel.
God, don't do it! Please don't!
Glory to the many.
I am a voice in their choir.
Where this game goes big mode is the sheer amount of class variety. You have core stats to your character like strength for using certain weapons and armor, endurance for more health, but then you have hacking, which lets you turn cameras and enemy turrets off. There's also multiple weapon skills that you can level up to equip and increase damage with specific weapon types. And all of this was very overwhelming for me, being that I've never played System Shock 2 before. I had no idea the value that the game placed on these certain stats. But as I progressed further, I became more confident in my build, focusing on standard guns and maintenance to keep them from breaking. I'm abridging a lot, but there are tons of different systems here. And I haven't even talked about the magic, which is a dump truck full of spells for different situations. I haven't done a wizard playthrough yet, but I hear that the early game spells become useless in favor of stronger ones later on. But where this game shines is when you see the benefit of each mechanic and stat. A hacker can bypass a keypad without needing a security code. An item that's out of reach might be obtainable by a wizard who can use telekinesis. Those are just small examples, but the game is littered with stuff like this that make your playthrough feel unique. And you have to make peace with the fact that you won't be able to max everything out. You have to stay committed, because you most definitely can brick your character. With all of that said, there were a couple parts of the game that did feel dated and stupidly cryptic. Like, make sure you look at all the TV pictures on this entire floor to find a passcode required for progression. Or the find 16 eggs while exploring this ship, but if you miss a single one, you have to backtrack to find it, haha. It wasn't bad by any means, but with how modern and fresh most of the mechanics feel in this game, it was moments like this that reminded me, oh, this is a 25-year-old game. As for my recommendation, it is a resounding yes, but only if you're into these types of games. Admittedly, it took a while for System Shock 2 to click with me. But once I started to understand the smaller details, it allowed me to see the bigger picture and managed to deliver an experience that you can't find in modern games. Lastly, I wanted to discuss the System Shock 1 remake versus the System Shock 2 remaster, because both games are quite similar in their structure. The remake was designed from the ground up, so all of the clunky old video gamey stuff just isn't there. It's also one of my favorite single-player shooters. I owe it a lot because it opened my mind up to this genre that I never knew I loved. The remaster, on the other hand, is a 25-year-old game with a new coat of paint, but it does have multiplayer. So keeping that in mind, I would honestly recommend both of them. But if you had to pick one, you get the remake if you're playing alone, you get the remaster if you got some friends to join you. Personally, I would love to see Night Dive do a remaster or remake of the Thief franchise, or give us a modern version of the original Deus Ex.